Today we're gonna make an Italian pizzelle cookie. It's a traditional Italian cookie that's crispy and crunchy and flavored with star anise. I've also added some vanilla, and there's like a nice light texture that has hints of butter and, oh, to die for. It's a perfect accompaniment for coffee or tea, or afternoon snack, or just to adorn ice cream. Really, you could put these anywhere and they'd be welcome. True, true. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and click the bell icon to be notified every time I post a new and delicious recipe. Let's get into it. So pizzelle batter, super easy. Everything we're gonna whisk together in one bowl, and it's gonna be super fast, and you're gonna be like, what? So the first step is we're going to whisk together our dry ingredients. So I've got AP flour here, and then kosher salt, and then a bit of baking powder. Whisk those together. Yes, set them aside. Now, in a larger bowl, this is where we're gonna mix all of our batter. So go ahead and put your eggs. Give those a nice whisk. I like to whisk until there's no streaks of white. Okay, and then we're gonna add our sugar. Give that a nice little whisk. Okay, and then we're gonna add all of our kind of like wet ingredients, if you will. We've got milk, vanilla extract. We've got anise extract. So this is that licorice flavor. This is kind of the traditional flavor of pizzelle. And so you're gonna go ahead and measure this. About a 1/4 teaspoon. I always do it over a different bowl because you never know, and this stuff is potent. So go ahead and get that in there. The licorice has now filled my room. I'm gonna whisk those together. All right, and then I'm gonna add my melted butter. And then we're gonna whisk in our dry ingredients. Now you do want to be careful not to over mix this, kind of like a muffin batter. You know, you want to mix just until there's no clumps or lumps, just until it's smooth, but no further. All right, so there's your batter. Now we need to let this batter sit for about an hour. Don't skip this step, this is super important. There's 3 reasons. 1, you want the flavors to meld, right? You want all the anise and everything to kind of meld together and come together. And that's gonna happen in the refrigerator. And then 2, you want to hydrate the flour. You wanna give it time to absorb some of the moisture that's in this batter. And you're gonna see it's gonna become a little bit thicker. The butter is gonna kind of chill and re-solidify a little bit. It's gonna make it a more thick batter. And then the 3rd thing is that you want the gluten in the flour to relax. So you don't want a tough cookie, you don't want a cookie that shrinks or does anything terrible. You want it a nice, tender, soft cookie. And the way you're gonna get that is by chilling it. So I'm gonna put plastic on top, and then I'll pop in the fridge, and then in an hour, we're gonna make some pizzelles. It's pizzelle time! All right, so we've got everything set up. We've got our mise en place, right? I've got something to spray the pizzelle maker. I've got one that has like 4 little baby ones in there, but you can use a bigger one, whatever one you have, perfect. And then I've got our batter, which is nice and chilled, and you'll see that it's kind of set really beautifully. You can see that it's, you know, nice and thick, more like a cookie batter. And then I've got scissors. Oh my gosh, I've got scissors to break the little ones apart. If you're using one big one, then you're good. But this one has 4 little ones, and they like to kind of meld together in spaces. Or we can use a cookie cutter. So go ahead and spray. Oh, the other thing that I've got going on right here, which is very important to note, is that I have parchment paper underneath my maker, my pizzelle maker, because sometimes it likes to squish out, and you know, I don't want to clean up my counter. So go ahead and just put basically like a teaspoon. The only way to figure out how much goes into your maker is trial and error. There really is no other way. I have made thousands of these for the restaurant and this particular gem, so I already know. But you can do a little trial and error. There's plenty of batter. And then go ahead and squish those all the way down. A little carryover over the sides is normal. So go ahead and just, you can, if it squishes out the back or anything, you can just kind of clean it up. You don't want to open it too early, because if you open it too early, then it won't release, and you'll just kind of get, like if you've ever opened a waffle maker too early, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes. Test your pizzelles to make sure that, they're doing their thing. So I'm going to use a little bit more batter, obviously. So I've got, these guys aren't the prettiest, and so I'm just going to keep going. All right, so put a little bit more batter. Also kind of depends sometimes on how cold or hot your batter is, because if it's a little bit colder, then it will kind of stay in one, like say in the center a little bit more. All right, there we are. Now I'm just gonna get a tray to put them on, the ones that I like. Now the ones that don't look as pretty, they still taste just the same. So you don't need to be, throwing them out. I like to take them to a nice golden brown. Make sure that they're, gonna crisp up and everything. But you see that so these are crispy. Boop. So you just take them to where you want them. Usually take them out with a different pair of tweezers that aren't this kind of serious. But you could use your scissors to cut these into perfect little bits. I actually just thought of this, and I wish I had thought of it like a year and a half ago, but here we are. So now you have perfect little pizzelles. Like, look at that. She's so cute. All right, so take those beautiful ones, put them over here. Take the rejects and put them in the reject pile. And then we just rinse and repeat. Make sure you spray at least every other one, because there is nothing worse than cleaning an unsprayed pizzelle machine, I can assure you. I'll just put a little extra in that back one, make sure that she gets her due. Okay. You know what, these would be great in like a parfait or a trifle or something. You could just kind of like crumble them in there. Now, take that out, like so. Put it on the parchment. You see the point of the parchment, yes? It's very important. And then before they cool, you separate them. The other thing about the scissors is that you probably should wear gloves, because it will burn your hands. Perfect yield. So go ahead and take those over there. They need to cool completely to crisp up. So I don't like to stack them until they are cool, like completely cool. But all of this is still delish and can go in the snack pile. Oh, yes. I was just gonna say, if you do it right, then you don't really have to clean your machine that thoroughly. We are no longer in that category. Nope, sure aren't. And we're done. We have made a plethora of pizzelles. And as you see, it's super easy, especially if you set up your space right and you just, it's just kind of get a flow and a rhythm going, and then you can have these cookies anytime. Make sure if you want to store them, if you want to make them ahead, store them in an airtight container at room temperature. Don't refrigerate them or they will absorb the moisture of the fridge. And they'll keep for if you keep them nicely wrapped, about a week or two. But it's time to try. All right, so I'm super excited because let's real talk. Let's not pretend like I wasn't just like snacking on all the scraps this whole time, so I know exactly what it's gonna taste like, but whatever, secret. It's time to try. You hear that crisp, that snap? I'll do it again for you. Yeah. It's crunchy and light and slightly sweet, and you taste like the vanilla and the star anise and all those wonderful flavors. So delightful. Perfect with coffee or tea or really any dessert. Just like put it right on top. Just boop. Complete or really just to adorn any sort of ice cream. If you want to serve ice cream and caramel sauce, perfect. You know, it will reject file taste just as good. And now we have perfect ones again. Yep. Or by themselves. I've snacked on them today, in fact.